Hi there. Welcome. My name's Angela and I own Angel's Landing Yoga and Wellness. And today we're going to be doing a practice for Family Day. As you can see, I'm at my home and we're all spending a lot of time in our homes these days, celebrating all the different things that come along. So today I wanted to help you celebrate movement together with your family in your body in a way that feels comfortable for you. So that being said, if we're doing anything during our practice that just doesn't feel good, it's not a posture that's accessible, or just doesn't agree with you in any way, I just want you to kind of come back to the core of what every yoga practice should be, and that's your breathing. And we're going to just practice some breathing. And at any time during the class, you're welcome to come back to that just core element of breath so that you enjoy the practice fully and completely, no matter what your abilities or capabilities are at this moment today. Okay, so let's meet together in a standing position. If you have a yoga mat, great, but if you don't have one, that's okay. You don't need to use a mat. And we're just going to stand nice and tall and try to place your feet so that your feet are about hip distance apart. You feel nice and comfortable in that stance. Soften your knees a little bit. And then I'm going to encourage you to take your right hand and place it right on your belly, and your left hand is going to go right on your heart. And I just want you to close your eyes. You're going to take a few breaths here and just notice what parts of your body move when you breathe. You don't need to change your breath in any way. Just notice it as you've naturally arrived here in this position. You might feel the chest and the belly expanding when you breathe in. You might feel a little bit of sinking or deflation when you breathe out. And once you find that sensation of expansion, see if you can make it a little bit bigger with your next inhale. So you're going to breathe in a little bit deeper through your nose. Try to fill up your belly space, fill up your chest space. And as you exhale, see if you can feel yourself sinking a little bit deeper into the foundation of your feet. So you're going to feel those feet sinking down into the floor. Take another deep breath in. Fill yourself up with as much air as you can this time. And as you exhale, feel your shoulders drop down. Feel your muscles relax. Just take a couple of more breaths here, allowing yourself to enjoy the feeling of breathing deeply and slowing down a little bit here. Just let your hands drop down to your sides. You can open your eyes if you haven't already and just gaze down to the floor in front of you. Let your arms just kind of shake out by your sides here. Relax those shoulders, maybe even bounce a little bit in the knees to sink into those feet. And then I'd like you to feel a little bit of firmness in your belly. So take the navel and pull it right back in towards the spine. Take your shoulders, hug them all the way up towards your ears, and then settle them back and settle them down. We'll do that one more time. Big shoulder roll here. Feel the tension that maybe exists there and see if we can encourage a little bit of softening in that space. Now let's take those arms and let them float all the way up overhead with a big breath in, circling the arms up, letting the fingertips touch at the top, and then pressing down through the midline of your body. So push those hands all the way down towards the floor as you breathe out. Breathe in, let the arms circle up. Breathe out, press the hands down. That's it. Try to do all you breathing through your nose if you can. Deep inhale. Complete exhale. And let's try one more full breath. And this time, as you exhale, when the hands get down around your hips, I just want you to hinge at your hips, folding forward and letting yourself come into a rag doll position here, swaying your body a little bit from side to side. If you can touch the floor, great, but don't worry if you can't, just hang in that direction. Relax your head, your neck, your shoulders. And then the next time that you breathe in, let's take your hands right up onto your shins for me. Look ahead as you lift your shoulders up level with your hips. We're gonna have a nice flat back here. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, release back again into that ragdoll position. Take your fingertips down just by your feet here and start to walk your feet back until you're able to bring your knees down to the mat in a table position. So in table position, we always have the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath your hips. Now we want to move the spine here. That's a really important part of yoga, is to move the spine in all different directions. So we're just going to let your belly drop down towards your mat. You're going to lift up your tailbone, lift up your chin as you breathe in. And then round your back up to the ceiling like an angry cat and let your chin drop into your chest as you breathe out. Breathing in, we're gonna let that belly drop down, press your chest forward, lift your chin, look all the way up to the ceiling if you can. And then exhale, round your back, tuck your chin and push your hands strongly into the floor. We're gonna do that a couple more times here. And I just want you to see if you can match your movement with your breathing. So every time you exhale, you're gonna be pushing your back up to the ceiling. And just notice how good it feels to move the spine, to create some space in those tight places, in the low back especially, between the shoulder blades. So make this your last repetition here, fully exhaling this time, tucking your navel all the way up towards the spine. And then coming to a neutral spine. So that's somewhere in between those two extremes. Pull your belly in. And then push your hips all the way over to the left side. Look over your right shoulder towards your feet. See if you can see all 10 toes. And then come on back to the center with a big breath in. And as you breathe out, push your hips to the right. Look over the left shoulder towards your toes. Excellent. Let's do that one more time to each side. Breathing in and breathing out, a little side bend. And breathing in, come to center. And breathing out, a little side bend as we look over the other shoulder. Excellent. Come on back to center. And this time I'd like you to pick up your right hand and bring it onto your low back for me with your palm facing up towards the ceiling. Now allow for that elbow to reach all the way up to the ceiling without letting your hand leave your back. So you're going to lift the elbow, look up over the shoulder. And when you're ready to exhale, we just let that relax and unwind. Excellent. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. Rotating your spine. Exhale, releasing in the belly muscles. And then one more time, inhale to rotate and open up your chest. And exhale to unwind. And of course, we have to do the other side. So we'll take that right hand down, bring your left hand up, palm faces the ceiling, elbow lifting now, opening up. And exhale to unwind. 2 more. Excellent. At the end of that breath, bring your hands back down to the mat. And then I want you to take your hands and place them in front of you here. Walk your knees back a little bit and lift your tailbone up nice and high to the sky. Now we're going to start to drop your chest down. And if you need to keep walking your hands forward, do that so that you can rest your face down onto the floor here. Rest your forehead. Spread out your fingers. Keep reaching your hands forward and keep lifting your tailbone nice and high. Take a nice deep breath. You might feel some tension in your shoulders here. Just try to let those shoulders relax. go ahead, lift your face, look towards your hands, and then I just want you to let your elbows come down to the ground. And then let your body come down to the ground. So your hips and your legs are going to be touching the earth. Your forearms here are just parallel to each other with your elbows underneath your shoulders. Just give your hips a little wiggle here from side to side. Relax your back. And then press into the forearms and see if you can feel like you're going to drag your hips forward just a little. You're going to feel some stretch in your belly here, some release in your back. Try not to look up too high or down too low, but somewhere right in the middle. Nice deep breath. Good. Take your elbows nice and wide for me. Stack your hands on top of each other and rest your head right on top of your hands. Take a moment to take a deep breath and feel your belly press right into the floor here as you breathe. And then I'm going to get you to take your arms forward here again. Straight out from the shoulders, spread your fingers out wide. Lift up your right arm for me and then lift up your left leg. So we're going to feel this diagonal lifting across the back of the body here, reaching forward, reaching back. And then when you're ready to exhale, bring it down nice and easy. And then go ahead, lift your left arm and then your right leg and feel the opposite sides lifting. Pressing down into the limbs that are still on the floor to lift a little higher for one more big inhale. And then exhale, take both of those down. Next, we're gonna do both arms and both legs. It's gonna feel a little bit like Superman here. So maybe try the legs first. Lift up your legs, maybe squeeze them a little bit closer together. And then lift up your arms and just look down towards the ground in front of you. Reaching your hands forward, maybe just tilt a little bit to one side and then tilt a little bit to the other side to get that Superman feeling. Go ahead and try that again one more time, each side. Excellent job. And then take your elbows back, place your hands beside your chest, let everything lower down. Let your forehead touch the ground. Press into your hands and knees. Hug your belly in, bring yourself back to the table position. Remember, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Now we're going to curl the toes under behind you, and I just want you to press your hips back towards your heels and see how that gives you a big stretch in the bottoms of your feet. And that might feel great, or it might feel like it is a little uncomfortable. That's okay, just breathe. It'll go away. And if it doesn't go away, just know we only have 2 more breaths. It's really good to stretch your feet. They get so congested in your shoes. Being squashed up all day, it's great to feel that barefoot stretch for 1 more breath. And then we're gonna let our knees leave the floor. We're gonna start to lift our hips up and come into an upside down V shape with the body. We call this downward facing dog. Now you might notice the backs of your legs feel kind of tight, so just kind of pedal out your heels like you're walking those feet. Pressing down one and then the other. That's going to relieve some of that tightness, some of that tension. And then start to walk your hands for me back towards your feet. Soften your knees as you get there so that it's a little easier to keep your hands on the floor so you can bend your knees a lot. And then bend them a little bit more. So you're starting to feel the thigh muscles. The legs need to be strong here to hold this. And we need to bring the hands now up to the heart space and find some balance in chair pose. So you're imagining like there's a chair behind you, but there isn't. So we're gonna feel those legs getting a little bit tired. Try not to let your knees drop all the way together. Keep them the same distance apart as your hips and your ankles. Hug your belly in so that navel's still pulling in towards your spine. See how, if you can hold this now with me for 2 more breaths. Make them nice deep breaths. And on the next time that you breathe in, we're gonna press into the feet, let your arms reach all the way up over your head, standing up nice and tall. Turn the palms to face forward now, link your thumbs together and stretch those arms up to the ceiling. but still try to keep some space so that your ears are not touching your shoulders. We want the shoulders to move down. Take a deep breath in here, and as you breathe out, we're gonna bend over to the right side, getting a nice C curvature to the spine here. So make a big C shape with your body. That's it. Next inhale, we're gonna come back to center. And exhale, let's go over to the other side. That's it, beautiful, big stretch in the side body. Oh, that feels good. And then we're gonna come back to center again. Open up the arms, hinge at your hips, bend your knees, fold your body back down into that ragdoll shape. Now this time I want you to see if you can wrap your arms all the way around the back of your legs, hold on to your elbows or your forearms or your wrists, and then start to lift your sit bones. Straightening your legs as much as you can as you pull your body in towards those legs. And you don't have to have straight legs. You'll feel stretch, so just let yourself feel it where you do. Take a deep breath, try to relax into the stretch. One more time. And then release your arms, just let them dangle. Hug your belly in towards your spine again. Tuck your tailbone down, and then we're gonna stack your spine one vertebra at a time until we come all the way up to standing tall. The head's gonna come up last. We're gonna do another one of those big shoulder rolls. Up, back, and down. Let's do that again. Beautiful job. Let's play a little bit with balance here. So I want you to take your feet wider than your hips. So if you're using a mat, maybe as wide as your mat. And then just let your arms come up, spread out your fingers, look up towards the ceiling. And notice how you feel pretty secure here. You feel pretty well balanced, pretty stable. Let your hands come into your heart space. And just bow your head towards your hands. This is just a little symbol of gratitude, being thankful for all the things that we have. Next, we're gonna bring those feet together. So your big toes are gonna touch one another. Your heels are gonna be just slightly apart. Try to feel your legs get really strong here. So push the muscles of your thighs back, but push the muscles of your hips and your butt forward. So we feel strong in the foundation. Again, we're gonna let those arms lift up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, lift your gaze, look up. Bring those hands together and down to your heart. Think of something that you're thankful for in your life today. Excellent. And then I'd like you to take one foot, doesn't matter which one, pick your favorite one. Step it directly in front of the other foot. So the heel and the toe are touching, and it's like you're standing on a tightrope here or a balance beam. Squeeze your thighs together. Squeeze your bum. That's it. Hug your belly in. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the arms. Let them release, bring them up, spread out your fingers, lift your heart, lift your gaze, look up. Notice how it's getting a little bit harder to balance here. You're gonna feel those ankles a little bit wiggly. Bring the hands back to the heart. Think of something else that you're thankful for in your life today. Whoops, getting a little bit wobbly. And then we're gonna try with the other foot in front. So just take one step forward, heels and toes touching. Squeeze your thighs together, squeeze your belly button in towards the back of your body. Arms separate here. Spread those wings. Spread the branches of what's going to be our tree pose in a moment. Looking up, big smile. And then come on back to your heart. Excellent. Let's just bring the feet side by side for a moment here. And I just want you to pick your favorite leg. Which is your strong leg, do you think? Let that be your standing foot. The other foot is gonna just rise up in front of you here. So we're just gonna lift your thigh parallel to the ground so your knee is up as high as your hip. And then we're going to open that thigh to the side and place your foot on your lower leg. And if the balance isn't working for you today, just touch your toes only down towards the floor. Now press your foot into your leg into your foot. Find your strong foundation. And if you feel like you've got enough balance, spread the arms. Spread the fingers. Looking up is going to make it harder still. So just go as far as you're comfortable going, knowing the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to put your foot down, and that's okay. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, hands to heart, foot back to the ground, find your center, find your gratitude. And now we're going to do the other side. So we've saved the hardest one for last. You're not a strong leg, but go ahead and try it here. Lift up. The opposite leg, open. Place your foot on your lower leg here. Try to pull the knee back. Press foot into leg, leg into foot, belly button into spine. And maybe spread the branches of your tree. Spread the fingers, the tiny little branches, the leaves. Look up towards the sun. Maybe there's a little wind today and those branches are swaying a little bit. That's it. And then just go ahead and bring the hands back in, bring the foot back down. And then we're just gonna shake all that off. Beautiful job. Let's inhale, bring the arms all the way up over your head. As you exhale, fold your body completely in half, a little swan dive forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, take your hands down, take your knees back down to the ground. And this time when you push your hips back, we're gonna let them drop all the way down to the heels. Bring your head all the way to the floor. This is child's pose. You can bring your arms back if you want to relax your shoulders a little bit more. Or you can have them forward, that works as well, you choose. Child's pose is a great way to let the back relax here, to let the spine lengthen, to just kind of shut out the world for a moment. Come into your own little private space, close your eyes, and breathe. And then after this breath, you're just going to bring your hands close to your legs, bring yourself up to kneeling position here on top of your shins. And then just in case those knees don't feel good in some bodies, we're going to rise up onto the shins completely. And then just take your right leg for me and step it forward to the top of the mat. So you're taking a nice big step forward, and then we're going to bend into that right knee and bring your hands down here, perhaps on the floor for a little bit of balance. Now, if it's hard for you to reach down towards the floor, you can leave your hands up on top of your knee here on your thigh and just kind of push your shoulders back a little bit. It's going to give you a bigger stretch in that hip flexor. It's going to let you relax those shoulders. This is a great starting place. Now we're going to build on this lunge. And as I said at the beginning, I just want you to choose the things that feel good for you. So if you try something and it just doesn't feel good, go back to the previous posture. Or just bring yourself down to sit and breathe for a moment. That's fine too. We're going to bring those hands back down, if you're able to, onto the ground. We're going to curl the toes under of that back foot now and lift the knee up, coming into a higher lunge position. So this is going to be a deeper stretch for your hips. It's also going to require some balance and strength to be able to hold this. Now you want to make sure that your feet are still like hip distance apart, like a railway track, instead of like a balance beam, all right? Don't put one foot directly in front of the other. You'll find it hard to balance because we're going to let those arms leave the ground now and come all the way up over your head. That's it. Bend a little bit deeper if you can. Feel the strength. And then the last thing is to look up. It's going to challenge that balance. Hold on a big breath for me wherever you are. And then let the arms come down if you raise them. Let the knee come down if you raised it. And send your foot all the way back to table position. Just give the hips a little wiggle from side to side. Like you're wagging your tail here. That's it, just release. Walk on those knees a little bit. It helps to release fluid in the knees. And then bring your bottom back again towards your heels. Just take a moment to sit back if you can on those heels. Stretch up the tops of your feet. And if it doesn't feel good, remember you're going to rise up onto those shins. We all are in about one breath. So from here, let's lift up. Let's take the left foot forward now to the top of the mat. Remembering we'll start with the hands just up on top of the thigh. Notice the hips are moving forward. So that back knee is behind you. That's going to help you get the stretch right here in the front. See if you can push this hip forward a little bit. That's it. Lift your chest, drop your shoulders. Now stay here or go just a little bit further with me by dropping those hands down to frame your foot. Curl the toe under, lift your knee without lifting your hips if you can, so just straighten that leg. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. You're not on a tightrope or a balance beam this time. You need that width for stability. And then maybe let those arms rise up nice and high overhead. Bend a little deeper if you can. Lean a little further back and then look up towards your baby fingers. Excellent. Let's take those hands all the way down if you raise them. Take your knee all the way down. Slide your foot back to table position. So let's have a little fun with strength here and let's see where you are with your strength. So remember the position we did before where we had the elbows down underneath the shoulders, the forearms parallel to one another. Maybe just let your thumbs touch together. And then we're going to take your legs back behind you, curl your toes under, and let yourself just hover off the ground here in what we call elbow plank. So if this posture requires more strength than you feel like you have today, bring your knees down. That's going to help you a little bit, but I still want you to pull your belly up and in. Send your heels back, so push back through those heels. Start to pull your elbows back towards your toes. And feel the space between your shoulder blades get bigger, not smaller. Push into the ground. You got this. Hold on with me for 2 more breaths. You're so strong. And then go ahead, let those knees melt down. Uncurl your toes. Open up those elbows. Rest your head. Just take a little breath here. Breathe deeply. Let the breath out through the mouth if you need to. Just sigh it out. Excellent. Let's take your hands now right beside your rib cage. Hug your elbows into your sides for me. Press into the tops of your feet and just peel your chest up a little bit off the floor. So don't push into your hands. Let them just hover maybe even. And feel the back muscles engage here in this Cobra pose. This is a great starting place. We're going to take it further in a minute if it feels okay. But if it doesn't, this is where you're going to come back to, okay? Exhale, lower down. Inhaling this time, either come up to where you were, just strengthening those muscles, or start to strengthen the arms as well, pushing up a little higher. Maybe the arms come completely straight. Relax your butt, relax your hips. Excellent. And then slowly elbows back, lower down. One more time. Inhale, come up to whatever height feels good for you. And then you're going to make your way to table position, pushing the hips back, walking the knees in a little bit. Curl the toes under. Lift your knees, send your hips up and back. So send the hips up to the top of the wall that's behind you. Press your heels down towards your mat now. Doesn't matter if they touch, just send them down in that direction. Spread out your fingers, make the biggest handprints and the biggest footprints into your floor as you can. And then start to tippy-toe your feet forward. As soon as you can't go any further, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Take your hands up onto your hips for me. Tuck your tailbone down, stack your spine, come all the way to standing tall. Circle out those shoulders, that's it. And then I just want you to, if you're on your mat, turn sideways. If you're just on the floor, just take your feet nice and wide apart for me. So if you were to put your arms out to the sides, where your wrists are, look straight down from there. That's where your ankles should be. So your feet are nice and wide apart. Take your hands back onto your hips, and then look at your toes and make sure your middle toes are pointing straight ahead. Inhale, squeeze your elbows together behind you. Exhale, come forward to a flat back. So try to look straight down to the floor. Press into the feet really strong. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale now, you can release your hands down to the floor in front of you. Let your chin drop into your chest. Wide-legged forward fold. Now we can play with this a little bit here. Let's bend just one knee. And then we'll switch and slowly start to bend the other knee. Come back and forth one more time each side. Start to feel what's happening in those hips. They're usually pretty tight for most of us, so just explore gently. Excellent. The next time you come back to center, take your hands back up onto your hips, flatten your back. And then use your belly muscles, strongly pull in as you let yourself rise all the way up to standing tall. And then you're just gonna heel toe your feet in a little bit closer together. And then leave your heels in, your toes turning out. Try to set your shoulders up directly on top of your hips, hands on the tops of your thighs, and then press the knees wide as you bend your knees, coming down into a little squat position here. Use your hands to press the knees a little bit more open, and then take a deep breath in for me. And as you exhale, bring your right shoulder across towards your left knee, and you're gonna look up over that left shoulder. Good, come on back to center. And then exhale to the other side. Good, come on back to center. And then let yourself stand up. We're gonna take your hands all the way to your heart space, so that gratitude posture. Maybe not so grateful for the legs being tired right now, but stay with me. And then slowly press into those feet to straighten your legs. Bring your feet in. Tick-tocking them all the way back to center. Let's do one more balanced pose here before we get back down on the ground. So this one's an airplane pose, and just have some fun with it. I just want you to take your arms out like the wings of an airplane. Take one foot behind you, just place your toes on the floor. Now make sure you don't collapse here in your waist. I want you to stay strong through this space right here, nice and long. All you're gonna do is lift your toes off the floor. And then you start to come forward like a teeter-totter. Maybe you just go a couple of inches. Maybe this is it right here. Maybe you can bring yourself all the way to balance so that your body and your leg are in a straight line parallel to the floor. And you're gonna wobble and you're gonna wiggle and you might even fall out of the posture. That is awesome, because you're testing how far can you go. You're not just staying where you feel comfortable. One more breath here. And then slowly, gracefully come back out of that posture. Beautiful. We have to always do both sides in yoga, otherwise we create imbalance. So we're gonna try the other side now. Take the other toes behind. Reach the arms out. If you found this really easy, instead of the arms being out to the side, you're gonna bring your arms up over your head like this and create airplane pose from here. This is actually warrior 3 in yoga. So wherever you need to be, find your focus. Hold on. Slowly come out. And then just shake it out. That's it, shake the arms, shake the shoulders. And let's come on down to the mat again. We're gonna sit. So let's sit with your legs out in front of you. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, the backs of your thighs, it doesn't feel good to sit with your legs really straight like this. So you might want to just bend your knees and bring your heels into the ground. That's totally fine. Whatever position that you choose, you're going to feel the bones, your sit bones connecting down to the floor. I just want you to move the muscle from back here in your hips out from underneath those sit bones so that you feel them on the floor beneath you. We're going to take a deep breath in, lifting your arms up over your head. Pull your toes back towards your face. And then exhale, hinge forward here. Let your hands come down, maybe your shins, maybe your ankles, maybe your toes. Relax your shoulders, relax your elbows. Let your head drop down towards your thighs now. And just take a moment here to feel this big stretch down the whole backside of your body. Maybe you feel it along your spine, maybe in your hips, maybe in your legs, maybe all of those. That's okay. Just don't push so far that you can't take a nice deep breath comfortably. Your breath, remember, is the most important part always in your practice. Excellent. Slowly, slowly let your hands drag back up your legs as you come to sit tall. Take your hands behind you now on the floor. It's okay to have your fingers turned in or turned out, whatever feels best. Bend your knees, bring your feet flat to the floor, hip distance apart. Now we're just gonna work a little bit on the opening of the chest space here. So inhale, start to lift up from the center of your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and just see how that feels for you. You might feel some opening across your collarbones. You're gonna feel what we call the heart space expanding so that you can feel, send, and receive more love. So think about that, the energy of love coming right from your chest. And if you feel like you've got a bit more space to stretch here, start to lift your bottom up away from the ground. Send your knees forward over top of your shins, and we're gonna have this reverse table position here. So ankles under knees, hands under shoulders. Open up and breathe, and if it's too much, remember, bring your bum back down to the ground. Excellent job. Deep breath. And on your exhale, we're going to slowly lower the hips back down. Now you're going to feel your sit bones and your tailbone connected here. So you're kind of in between the two. See if you can just release your hands here and send them forward. We're leaning back towards the tailbone, so you're going to feel those core muscles engage. And then bring your feet all the way together for me. Now this right here is going to start to create a little bit of tiredness in the belly space for many people, so just stay with it. If you feel a little stronger, you can lift your feet up off the floor and see if you can bring your feet parallel to the ground. Hug your thighs in closer to your belly. That's it. And then maybe straighten your legs. I know this is a hard one. This is called boat pose. Stay with it for me. One more breath wherever you've chosen to be. Soften the knees. Bring the feet to the ground. Take your hands and bring them over towards the right side now. That's it. And then bring it all the way over towards the left side. Come on back to the center and sit up nice and tall. That's it. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself a big hug. You deserve it. That was hard work. And then we're just going to let those knees drop apart. Bring the soles of your feet together here. Take your hands behind you a little bit to open up. We're just going to make butterfly wings here. So just a little bounce of the legs. Not too much. It's not forcing the legs down. It's just kind of making them flutter, exactly like butterfly wings. See how that feels. Slowly come back up again. Come back to the middle. Bring the legs together. And then you're just gonna straighten out your right leg. Bring your left knee all the way in. So hug it in and plant that foot down on the ground beside you. Now your right toes are pulling back. You're gonna reach and see if you can touch those toes. And then wrap that arm around your left knee. Take your left fingertips a little bit behind you. Sit up a little taller. And then turn your belly button towards your inner thigh. Look back over the shoulder. Take a deep breath in here. A complete breath out. Let yourself slowly unwind. Good, and let's switch and do the other side. So we're gonna extend that left leg out. Hug that right knee all the way in. Nice and close. Take a moment to hug it in. Reach forward with your left hand as you pull your left toes back. See if you can touch. And then wrap that arm all the way around. Take the right hand behind for a little balance. Just sit up tall and then revolve. Turn your belly button towards your bent leg. Slowly unwind. Bring the legs back out to straight again. Lift both arms up overhead, deep inhale. Exhale, fold over those legs. Now as the hands drag back this time, you're gonna let those knees softly bend. Bring yourself slowly back onto your back body here. Hug your knees into your chest. And we're gonna just do a little rock and roll here from side to side. We're gonna even change the direction of the rock and roll. So cross over your ankles for me. Take your hands under your thighs. Give your feet a little kick, and we're gonna rock from your tailbone all the way to your head and back again. We're gonna do that about 3 or 4 times. Just feels good to massage out that spine, and it's a little fun too. So have fun with it. One last time here. The next time you roll back and cross those ankles, send your feet up to the ceiling, send your hands down to the ground. And then we're gonna slowly lower those legs. You can lift your head and shoulders up and watch the legs lower down. Try to keep them straight. Bent knees is a great way to modify and make it a little bit easier. Just keep that in mind. Once we get to just a few inches away from the floor, I want you to stop and hover those legs. Point your toes and flex. Good. Do a little flutter kick. Excellent. Take the feet out and cross, out and cross. Good. Back to flutter kick. Back to point and flex. Excellent job. Soften those knees. Bring your feet to the floor. Nice and close. Lower your head and shoulders down and tuck your shoulders underneath you a little bit more. Now press into your hands. Press into your feet. Lift your pelvis up off the floor. Find bridge pose. Try to keep your neck long so your chin is moving a little bit away from your throat here. If you want to, take your arms all the way overhead, extending and reaching them away from the shoulders. Pressing into the feet, lifting the hips a little higher. Breathe. And then start to slowly lower your spine, one vertebra at a time, until the hips come back down to the ground. Now extend your legs out, your arms overhead. Full body extension here. Reach through the fingers, reach through the toes. You can interlace your thumbs if you like. Let your back arch off the floor. And then exhale, relax. Let those arms come out to T position. Bring your feet back to the floor, bending your knees. Make sure your spine feels nice and straight here. And then pick your feet up off the floor for me. Lifting the feet up. Squeeze your legs together. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, try to bring your legs over towards your right arm without letting your left shoulder leave the ground. See if you can create that rotation here. You might get a little snap in the spine, a little cracking. That's okay. That's good. Just breathe. Come on back to center as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's go all the way over to the other side. forward. My heart bows to yours. Namaste. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day celebrating yourself, celebrating each other, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you sometime in person in the future. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.